Peters. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer with Communitech, the technology organization in Waterloo region.
So as I said, I have a little bit of an idea, but I'm going to ask you anyway to introduce us to Waterloo's, economic makeup, let's say, its competitiveness, and particular focus on investment attraction. What are some of Waterloo's competitive advantages? And from your point of view, what could it improve?
I think one of the biggest advantages of the Waterloo region economic system is the diversity of the wide variety of industries that we have. Waterloo region has long had a history of reinventing itself. And so we have a strong manufacturing sector, a strong agriculture sector, finance and insurance, post-secondary education, and technology. And they all coexist in a really nice, diverse mix within the local economy. I think as far as advantages go, certainly the strength of the talent pool is one of our strongest advantages. That's thanks to a great group of post-secondary institutions locally. I think, things where we could improve, certainly transportation infrastructure is something that is always top of mind for us in Waterloo region. Certainly we're improving our own local transportation infrastructure, but connectivity to other parts of Southern Ontario is something we're working on.
What would you say are some of the sectors that Waterloo really excels at and which will define its future, in your opinion?
I think, Waterloo region has had this tradition of reinventing itself. And so over the years, new industries have emerged. We're a very strong financial services sector and insurance sector in particular. Many of Canada's leading insurance firms are headquartered in Waterloo region. More recently, I think the technology sector has certainly begun to emerge as a major piece of our local economy. And technology increasingly has become a driver of economic activity in other parts of our economy as well. And so we have a strong manufacturing history and tradition in the region, which is now increasingly becoming much more technologically advanced and focused on advanced manufacturing and Industry 4.0 and those kinds of things.
One of the draws, of course, for talent is already having a tech and innovation ecosystem in place. How would you describe Waterloo's tech and innovation ecosystem? Who are its main components? Realizing Communitech is, of course, very well known as a kind of a hub. Help us understand what does it look like and perhaps how it differs from other innovation ecosystems.
Sure. The Waterloo region is a small city in that there are fewer than 1 million people that live in our community, but we have a really strong technology ecosystem, considering the size that we are. And so the makeup of the technology ecosystem is pretty diverse. We have about 1,400 technology firms in the region. Small, medium, and large size enterprises. And there are a diversity of types of technology as well. So there's a lot of enterprise software, a lot of business-to-business kinds of technology. Increasingly, we're seeing more consumer tech, more clean tech, more health tech. So the variety is starting to emerge. Waterloo region has the second highest startup density in the world. Per capita, second to Silicon Valley, obviously, but very strong and diverse set of startup companies, and they in turn attract talent, they attract capital to the region. They also are an important source of new innovation and new ideas for the ecosystem, and they are joined by scaling firms and large enterprises in the broader ecosystem.
My sense, let's say, of what makes Waterloo attractive is perhaps the combination of it being a medium-sized city or environment, but as you said, thriving, diversified. Would you say that's actually perhaps the strong point?
I think that one of our competitive advantages certainly is that we are a mid-sized city. So the community is relatively well connected in terms of business relationships, talent relationships, and so on. We also have that diversity of different kinds of tech that are being developed. Some of that technology emerges from the post-secondary institutions. Some of it emerges from existing companies and the individuals that work in those companies. Some of it is the result of serial entrepreneurship. So individuals who are very experienced at starting and scaling a business, and then taking that knowledge and experience and applying it into a new product or a new industry.
So what role does Communitech play in this ecosystem?
I think one of the roles that Communitech plays in the local ecosystem is that of connector and convener. And so certainly right now, that connection and that convening is happening largely virtually. But that's long been one of the things that Communitech has really focused on, creating those opportunities for different kinds of businesses to come together and innovate, perhaps build a new partnership or a new customer relationship or a new R&D relationship, let's say. That opportunity to convene like minds in the community. So, for example, we run 35 to 40 monthly peer roundtables. So individuals that have a similar role within a tech company locally, they will get together and they will help one another solve problems. So we've long played that role of community connector, if you will.
What about any offering or any services you would have to cater specifically to foreign investors? I mean, I can imagine if I was a foreign investor looking at Waterloo, I would certainly consider reaching out and seeing how I can connect to the ecosystem, be guided, be advised by a group that is so connected.
Mm-hmm. And certainly we do facilitate that kind of investment attraction for the tech sector. And we rely on our partnership with Waterloo Economic Development Corporation to play that role in other sectors of the economy. But for tech specifically, we often think about, the three big problems that tech companies in our community are always trying to solve: access to the right kind of talent, access to the right kind of capital, access to the right kinds of customers or markets. And so part of our role is to try and facilitate that connection. And often international investors are coming to look at the quality of the companies that they're seeing emerge in the region. They are a source of great connectivity in terms of new partnerships or new markets potentially. And so we're often trying to facilitate that connection in that way.
What would be your sort of general strategy advice to players in the Waterloo ecosystem right now? And perhaps you can share a specific one for any foreign company, I would say, already invested in the ecosystem in the current context.
For international organizations or investors that are looking at the region, the things that I would point to would be that Waterloo region has a really good set of that connective tissue, that social infrastructure that I mentioned. It has the advantage of being a mid-sized city, and so there is less friction in reaching out and finding the right connection at the right time. It's also a very open business culture, I would say. So it's very easy for someone to reach out to me, for example, and say, I'm looking for a contact in this industry to have a conversation about doing business with this type of partner or this kind of market. We can readily, all of us, make those kinds of introductions because we're still a small enough community where a lot of that individual connectivity facilitates the business connectivity.
I'm wondering about the quality of life, about the experience working in a sort of human-sized community, if I can put it this way. And again, I think especially in the current environment where we're already witnessing a little bit of an exodus from major urban centers that are so dense and where you may not have as much space for leisure and so forth, and even for health. Does that perhaps bode well as well for Waterloo in the coming years?
I think Waterloo is, because of the nature of the community and where we are situated, it has a lot of advantages for quality of life. So we are, a mid-sized city, but we are surrounded by some of Ontario's best agriculture and farmland. So it is a very green place. There is a lot of opportunity to get outside and enjoy, our trail system and our parks and all of those kinds of things. I think it is also a community that it is very much focused on helping one another. It's been part of our roots, if you will. It is quite a welcoming community, and it's a wonderful place to live.